who's tuning into this, the latest in the Women in Testing series of recordings with some very special women who have come forward to share their stories and how they've become involved in testing. Today I have with me Lina Kulakova. Lina is a QA lead based in Portugal, originally from Ukraine. Welcome, Lina.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity of sharing my story. And it's a huge pleasure to talk with you because I have seen the amazing work that you have been doing so far to help women connect with other women. And I saw a lot of inspiring women that already were here. So I hope that I can share something insightful or at least inspiring today.
I know, Lina, that you are going to, because we've already had a little bit of a chat about the things that you're interested in. First of all, tell me a little bit about what you do at the moment and a little bit about how you got to that position.
Sure. So I'm working now in a financial startup in a fintech, which is quite demanding but also very exciting area to work. And we now are trying to pioneer the whole testing strategy around machine learning. So how to test artificial intelligence. And it has been quite a challenge, but it's also so exciting to be able to try something completely new in the field, or at least that was not that well explored. So I'm so happy. And it was quite a journey to come to this place, and having now a big team of enthusiastic QAs. I started just by accident. I became a QA by accident, I can say, because I don't have an IT background. I was studying forensic science and thought that I will be forensic genetic, working in a forensic genetics laboratory, but I had a couple of friends that challenged me to explore QA, and I thought that this will be something very, very temporary for me. But it happened that I found out my passion, and I love what I do, and I think that it's such an exciting field, and it has so many different opportunities, not only because of what we do, but also because of our different products. So we can test different things, and depending on what we love, we can easily find a place for ourselves that will just give us extra power to run an extra mile and to do amazing things at our jobs. So I started initially as a manual QA, and then gradually I moved to automation, because I found that it was very, very interesting to be able to automate. And from there, I started to gradually lead. At some point, I had a great opportunity of just setting the whole QA department from zero in a company, and I loved that. And since then, I have been the person who just defines the strategy for different companies, and I love that, because I think it's amazing to be able to think about the right approach for testing, not only just executing the test, but trying to decide, and then of course also adapt whenever needed. And I think it's a very interesting challenge, and I feel that also that as a woman we can plan a couple of interesting things. So I think I might have an advantage on that one.
You've been through a learning journey through lots of different environments there, and in different types of job roles with different types of interactions with people. One of the things we talked about before the interview was the importance of mentorship. And I know that this is something which is really close to your heart, because you see it as being something which has helped you on this journey. What is it about mentorship that really appeals to you, as opposed to some of the other types of learning that people go through? If we can call it learning, I think is mentorship learning. We could debate that even. What is mentorship?
Yeah. Well, there are different types of mentorship, and throughout my journey, I had different types of mentorship, and I was very lucky to find different types of mentors. Some of them happen to be natural mentors, so it could be someone from my company, for example, that I found very, very inspiring, or someone that could just, could have something that some type of skills that I would like to achieve. And I believe that those are also very important. So it was not an official mentor-mentee program. We didn't have these set meetings nor anything, but it happened naturally. And this was very good because it helped to unlock. It was a person that I trusted a lot, and we gradually built even more trust throughout the question that I did. And then, of course, I looked for more formal mentors. And luckily, there were a lot of different programs that would help me as an aspiring mentee find a mentor. And that is also very helpful. To begin with, I think that having a mentor is really important, regardless of the field. So it's not only in QA, but in different aspects of our life, having someone that could guide you through the things, it's very, very important, because you are just maximizing the potential, and you are just taking the best of your time, because you have a person that already gone through a lot and can share the experience, insights, but also make you think and make the right questions. And that is very important, because we are always in a rush, and there are a lot of things going on around us, at our jobs, in our lives. And I think it's very, very important to have someone that we can trust and that can make us think about our objectives, our goals, where are we running to, right? Because just running and doing a lot of things won't lead us anywhere if we don't know where we are heading to. So I think for that, a mentor plays a very crucial role. So I was very lucky to just have this extra help of someone that could inspire me, guide me, and make me think. And for more formal mentors, I participated in some programs, and not always went great. Sometimes I struggled a bit, and that also can happen, and it's okay. With informal mentors, it was always good, because there's always someone that you connect to more than other people that inspires you. And for that, I think that the most important thing is just to be brave enough to approach the person. Sometimes we feel that we need to hold back, or not being too annoying. And I believe that there are a lot of people with imposter syndrome that feel that they do not belong, or they should not talk too much, or something like that. And I think that recognizing our value, and understanding that mentor and mentee engagement is always two-way road. So
Yes.
the mentor also learns a lot from their mentees, and I learned that when I became a mentor eventually. So I started my mentorship program, and I learned that for a mentor, it's also a very rich experience. So looking back, I think that I should not hold back that often as I did before, or being so ashamed or afraid of something, because it's a very good experience for both sides, and we both grow together. And I think that's very good, because we are just doing more things with the same amount of time. We are learning from someone's trials and errors, or achievements, or wins, and that's great.
So going back to the informal mentoring and what have you, so that was a case of, identifying somebody who you kind of thought, yeah, they know stuff that I need to know a bit more about. How did you begin the approach to them?
I think that the easiest way is to find what you have in common with that person and begin with that. That's what usually I used to do. If there is a connect with a person, there should be something at least that you have in common. It can be a passion for testing. It can be a new tool that you just tried, or it can be a struggle. It doesn't matter, but there should be something that connects you to that person. And beginning from that, and being really, really direct from about what you are struggling with, I think that helps a lot. Usually people don't say no. And from the experience that I had, not only with mentors, but even inviting people for QA interviews, inviting people to speak up on meetups, people usually say yes. So Having that in mind and knowing that most likely people won't say no and they will be happy to share their experience. And if someone shows interest in their path and their journey, in their experience, that also makes a person think twice and definitely say yes and accept this challenge of being an informal mentor. We don't need to clarify always that you will be my official mentor, but going to that person and asking questions. From what I saw and from what I learned, people usually are happy to share what they learned and what they have.
I think so, and I think we've explored this in a few of the other interviews, and maybe being a little bit provocative. Is it more difficult for women to actually make those approaches to mentors and say, I need help? Do you think women find it harder?
I think that most of the times, yes. It has to do with a lot of cultural aspects also, so it really depends also on the geography. Luckily, most of the countries nowadays, and considering the IT fields, they are more open-minded, so it's easier for us. But I believe that we, as women, still hold us back more than men do. And that is true about asking for mentorship. That is true about asking questions. That is true about asking a higher salary. And I believe that it's very, very important just understand your value and not trying not to distinguish. So I fought for the things that I wanted as a person in the first place, as a professional in first place, not as a woman. And that helped me a lot throughout my career, just being focused on my value as a QA,
Yes.
not as attached to a specific gender. And with that, luckily, I had always great teams that would accept me that way. And I didn't have any pay gaps, luckily, also in the IT industry. But I think it's important for us also sometimes just to step up and demand things that we deserve as professionals or as aspiring professionals. And it's valid. We can do that. Why not? Just there are a lot of things that we are afraid of, I believe, as women usually. And again, the imposter syndrome doesn't help. And usually, I think it's more common in women. But just sit for 10 minutes and try to evaluate what you have to give to this world or to the industry. Most of the times for us, it's difficult. But we can ask, for example, our colleagues what they like about us. And once we start to have this list, when we build this list of things that people appreciate in us, we start to understand that we definitely deserve things. So we go after them and we fight for them. And I think that's important. That's an important step of this knowledge. We tend to criticize a lot ourselves. And sometimes it's very important also to have the other side of just appreciating things that we have and that we achieved so far.
There are so many important messages in what you've just said, about, maybe, looking at our own value and appreciating our own value. Of course, we need to be aware of our weaknesses, and of course, we need to think about how we improve. But appreciating our value, such wise words. I'm just going to segue a little bit, and then I'll come back to talking about mentorship. One of the things that we haven't discussed in too many of these interviews is maybe salary gap and pay. I was in a very interesting discussion recently with a group of women, and I made the statement, it's really improving. Surely that salary gender gap doesn't still exist in the way it did back in the 80s, when I have to tell you, I've got some things that I could say about the 80s and how it was that would, just horrifying when I look back now in the 90s and even into the 2000s, actually. That salary gap, do you think part of the issue is that women at interview, when we're going for the job, when we're applying, then when it comes to annual reviews or whatever, do you think sometimes we just hold back a bit too much on being able to say, actually, this is what I'm worth, this is what I want?
I definitely think that is one of the causes. Of course, again, it really depends on the culture of the country, the company, etc. But interviews are very, very important, and how we ask for things is very important. Quite often, I do see women that ask for a salary, but they make it clear that it's okay if you pay less, or just anything can go. And I think that's a very dangerous thing to do, because some of the companies will just take advantage of that and they will try to give you less. So definitely fighting for your salary is always important. Even if the offer is good, sometimes it's good for us just to state our strong points and what value we can add to the company, and make it clear that we definitely deserve that. But I interviewed a lot of women so far, and I see that there's difference in the posture, in the way how they ask for money. And money is a very sensitive topic for most of the women usually, so they tend to avoid it, not to ask things directly, or just stating that they are happy to have almost anything or something similar to what they have now. So I think that being more brave in this field and more open regarding the payment, I think it would definitely help.
And if you had to give a little bit of advice about in that interview or in that salary review session, be brave, but ways of saying it, and have you got any sort of suggestions about how to maybe approach the conversation?
What usually helps me is to know that interview is two-way road again. Usually we take the interview as an exam, and it's not. It's an official meeting where we tend to meet one person that is representing a company, and we are representing our own brand. So it's a meeting where we tend to see if there's a connection and the mutual benefit of working together. So that helps. We are not some degrees below anyone. We have our own value. It can happen that we just might not be the best match for the role, and it's okay. Sometimes it happens. The same way it happens for us. Sometimes we just decide to leave the company because it's not the right company for us anymore. So I think the right thing to do is to understand that it's both ways. We are both evaluating each other. So it's not only you that you are in an exam and you have a professor that is evaluating, and your life depends on that. That is not true. Also, depending on the person that you're talking to, sometimes it's really, really helpful to just be direct. And I know it's difficult, but we can definitely say that, look, I have this, I have that. For example, when I started interviewing after I got the certification from ISTQB, I could add that as a value. So I am certified. I know I have a proof that I know what I'm talking about. My previous experience, I have been through these challenges and I managed to succeed on them. Of course, with a lot of struggle, but I managed to succeed. Or okay, I became an automation engineer from manual QA. So I grew, that there's a proof that I can learn and I can adapt. So I think stating those things sometimes help, but most of the times being direct about what we think we deserve and why is already, an icebreaker for that.
I think so. I mean, of course, in companies, we've got all of the different drivers within that company that might affect things, location where you're based can change things. But really good advice, Lina. Thank you. Going back to mentorship after that little kind of deviation, we've talked about informal mentorship and thinking about more formal mentorship. I know I've been so privileged in my life. I've had some of the best mentors I could wish for. But my God, I made some mistakes as the mentee in some ways because I had totally the wrong idea about what mentorship was in the early days. And, I used to sit for hours thinking I can't look stupid in front of them. So I need to do my homework. I need to write down my SMART goals. I need to be knowledgeable about this. and it used to turn into something which was, at times quite a chore, and a little bit ominous and what have you. So obviously, as a mentee, I had totally the wrong idea, and fortunately I had some good mentors who helped put me on the right track. But maybe you could just talk a little bit about when you're going through that, actually formal or informal, but maybe the more formal, what is it you can do as the mentee to get the most out of it? How can you prepare? How can you make sure that you're getting back as much as you possibly can from that relationship?
Right. So mentorship and mentee relationship is not a school. So I don't expect a mentee to prepare and do any type of homework. But what is really, really important is to be clear about what's the goal of the mentorship. So why are you looking for a mentor? Most of the people have a lot of different things prepared for the session, but they don't know exactly what they want from it. And that makes things very, very difficult because we don't know where we should steer towards that person. So having an understanding what you think, what you would like to benefit from it before you approach the person. And I think that helps a lot. From there are different ways that we can build our sessions. So we can work also depending on the type of the person. Some people learn more just exposing their weaknesses and trying to explore and deep dive into the problem together with someone with the guidance. Other people prefer just different type of sessions. So it really depends on you as a person. But a crucial thing is to have a clear goal and understand what, and it doesn't need to be a smart goal that is achievable, but it needs to be a goal. It needs to really guarantee that you are there for a reason. And if you know exactly what you want, you can also more easily find the right person to help you achieve that. If I think that I would like to become the head of a QA department in a company, it would be completely different if I believe that I would love to do good reviews about automation tools in YouTube. So I think it's very, very important to understand what you want as a professional. Being direct and clear about that, and usually things go from there very, very easily if that's the right mentor for you. I think that sometimes we struggle a lot, and this about the things that you mentioned about perfection or trying to be perfect. I think that usually is not the best use of time, to be honest, because we are looking for a mentor in order to improve something. And if we are there and trying to pretend to be perfect, then we are wasting our times. And it's very difficult to show our weaknesses, but it's crucial. And that's why it needs to be someone who you trust a lot, because you are there to explore your weaknesses and become stronger and become better. So I think it's totally wrong approach. I agree with you, trying to pretend something that you are not, because then you will get results probably or ways or solutions that are not adapted for you.
They're not the real solutions that you need. Interesting thing, you talk about mentoring and weaknesses. Do you think that one approach is actually, this is where I have a strength, but I want that strength to develop, and so it's not actually a weakness, it's something that I'm already pretty good at, but actually I want to be really good at it and I'm struggling to get to the next level? Mentorship can help with that as well, I think.
I think mentorship can help with anything if you have the right person next to you. But sometimes I think that mentor can also try to explore you. Why do you want that? And that also might be insightful. So it's really a different ways approach, and you can explore different layers of it. So why do you think that you need to excel? How do you evaluate how good you are at it? And I think those things also can be explored with a mentor. But it's a clear goal, it's a clear wish, so I think it's a good starting point. And of course, mentor is not there for only just give you a solution. So it won't be a person that you want to be better at this, then okay, just take this online course and that's it. Or I will teach you and that's it. It's not a teacher. It's a person that will guide you. And
Yes.
it's a good thing, because a different person has a different experience, different perspective in life, and different learnings throughout their lives. So they might help you to analyze everything from a different perspective, and this can be very, very beneficial. So even if we state that we want to become better at something, definitely they can maybe help us with that, but also they help us analyze how we can assess that. Why do we want that? How this will help to our final goal.
I totally agree. Totally agree. You're very involved in Portugal locally, I think, with Portuguese Women in Tech, and lots of other initiatives for women and girls. If you were talking to these groups of women at the moment, what would be the main thing you would say to them about advancing your career? Thinking about the conversation we had about a mentor or mentoring, what would be the big piece of advice that you'd most like to share with them as a final point?
I have, apart from working with women in tech, and I was a mentor there, and it was a great experience for me as well. I also have a QA community that I built on my own, where I tend to have meetups with different QAs once a month. And I see a lot of people struggling just with being honest and understanding what they want. This is a very demanding career. I know that a lot of people like myself, we moved from a different career to QA. And most of the times we feel that we are somehow diminished comparing to developers. And I felt that in the beginning as well. And because of that, I developed a lot of different struggles, let's call it that way. And because of that, I also it took me a little bit longer to just stand for things that I believe and then stand for my opinion. For example, in a project, if I would say something about the approach that we should take in terms of the testing, if there would be a developer saying something, then I would just shut up and accept someone his solution. So I felt always that QAs are somehow below developers. There was like this informal hierarchy that no one has written, or it's not stated, but you put yourself in that position. So from my journey, one thing that helped me a lot grow throughout my career is understanding that depending on the company, depending on the struggles, depending on the project that I have, I can add tons of values, because I am the person that guarantees that wherever we deliver the right thing, and we are delivering a good thing. So we can have the best developers, but if we deliver the wrong thing, no one will buy it. No one will pay for it. Or there might be people that will suffer with our products if we deliver the wrong thing. So I play a crucial role in that. And also, again, we can have the best developers, but we can deliver the completely bad thing at the end, because just things don't work together. And I have the value and I have the power of not only connecting the product to the tech guys, developers, and make the product just as a whole a product. I think the transformation from code and documentation into real product becomes with a magical touch of QAs. Yes. And that helped me a lot to understand that it's a very, very demanding area, but it's very, very important field. And QAs played as a very important role throughout our lives, even in different industries before we had this huge boom in IT. So assessing quality is a huge responsibility, and we need to embrace it not as we are less than someone, but we need to understand that our contribution is crucial to transform a piece of code and good idea into the product that final users will love and that will not suffer from, ideally.
There's a book title in there, I think, Lina, The Magical Touch of QA. There you go, as a challenge to you.
Thank you. I wouldn't mind.
Thank you so much for your time and lots of insightful thought there. And there's a few things actually that I know that I'm going to think about post this session, because you've kind of got me thinking a little bit about value and things that maybe really matter. And sometimes we just don't take time to think, actually, you know what, I'm good at that. And I need to value myself. And I really appreciated that. And I hope that everybody watching as well has taken something from it. Thank you, Lina. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time and for the invitation. It was a huge pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.